Today we're going to try to put together a distributor for Drag Truck. That's our 80 Dodge D150 with a 318 in it. We've done nothing to try to tune on that 318. We literally pulled it out of the field, changed oil in it once. We did bolt the 4-barrel on it, but we've done nothing, not even changed the spark plugs. So the problem is I needed that distributor for something else, so I pulled it out and I grabbed just the one I had, dropped it in there, and it's a lock distributor. And I don't like lock distributors for a couple of reasons. I don't want to start controversy. A lot of people run a lock distributor on their drag car, but my problem is a lock distributor, if it's a normal factory Chrysler style, like something like this, what'll happen to it is, believe this or not, you think lock, that timing, if you set it at whatever degree you want, 34, 28, whatever. Once it's set, you can just race whatever RPM you want or idle it. It's going to be there, but it's not true. If you set it at 30, a lock distributor at 30, when you rev it up, hit 6,000 RPMs, it'll actually pull 4 degrees out. It'll actually drop down to about 26, 27 degrees. And I don't like a lock distributor for another reason. A lock distributor kind of wants to tear the nose off the front of the starter when you go to start it. You can have a distributor if it's for a car that you plan on like dragging a lot and not really drive on the street much. Then initial almost becomes out of the equation, because you can use the initial, a lower timing, like an initial at say 15 degrees or even 10 degrees, just to start it, and that way it turns over easy, it fires right off. And if it's idling, let's just throw a number out there, it's idling at 15 degrees, but you really want it to run say 35 degrees. You set your total for what you want, and if the initial ends up being 16, it's 16. If it's 13, it's 13. It's not a big deal, because if you run a really weak spring, the advance, it happens so fast that a lot of times, if it's a drag car, if you got like 430 gears in it with an 8-inch converter that's going to flash up to 42, you got your full advancement anyways right from the get-go, and that's where it stays. So the initial becomes less of a deal if the purpose of your car isn't going to optimize initial timing. And this is where people get confused. Initial timing is very crucial if it's a daily driver. Just in case you're a little late to the party and you don't know what a lock distributor is, your distributor inside, like a factory Chrysler distributor like this, will have mechanical advancement in there like this. The springs hold them closed, and centrifugal force, when it spins, spreads them open, and they're limited how far they can close or spread open by this, the slots in this, and the slots just slip over there. And what they do is, a lot of times people just weld these up, or they put an FBO plate on there and just put it at 0 just to lock it in place so these can't advance any. And that's called a lock distributor. So I'm going to start with this distributor. I'm just going to pull this reluctor off. Just 2 flathead screwdrivers on each side. Should just pop that off. So the deal with this is there's a little pin here, and that pin goes into this slot right here. So you really can't get that on backwards. I always inspect this to see if there's anything broke out of this or any of these that this doesn't look right, but this one here looks pretty good. Next, I'm gonna pop off my vacuum advance. I'll just take these Phillips screwdrivers here out. Just got the 2 screws that hold that in. And then I'm just going to lift up on this plate a little bit and get that out of there like this. It's kind of spring loaded, so I'll just kind of get this. A little hard to do and keep it camera friendly, but there we go. Next, I'm just going to take this plate off. Just 2 screws hold that on too. Now this should just come out of there. Let me get this pigtail loose from here. Pull this up. I'm looking to see if this distributor has a pin. Sometimes they got a pin that sticks out and goes in this slot here, in one of these 2 slots, and it helps you line it up. But the screws will hold it in place as well. Now we just got to take this, it's a clip that looks like this inside here out, so we can take this off and then we can check and look. But I can already tell you, if you look right in here, someone's already been in here. It's got a light spring here and a light spring here. So if I hold on to the bottom of the shaft, these should open up, which they're fighting me. Yeah, that's not wanting to open up for me. Froze inside there, so I got to free it up. First, I'm going to take that clip out so I can pull this upper shaft out, this looking thing. Okay, I'm back. And just so you know, I'm working in the dark, so the video, or with the light off, so the video is better for you guys. Camera work will be better. Anyways, I was wrong. The springs were original. It had the thicker spring with a long loop in it, as the factory would put in there, and then the light spring. So I took this outside and cleaned it really well with carb cleaner, and took my time, got it really well, got it to where it actuated good, and then I sprayed a lubricant like WD-40 on these pins. And they're not airtight, so I just kept working it back and forth. It freed everything up really good. Now the actuation is just excellent. So that's all the further I'm going to do to this. I got the light spring in there. This heavy spring is out of there now, and that makes your total timing, you know, really late into the RPM. So this right here should really work well. Actuation's really well. So that's all the further I'm going to do to this. I'm not going to even take this off. The clip that I was talking about and pulling this apart, when I went outside and looked at it in the bright light, it was much better. So I'm just going to reassemble this. Alright, we got this inside there. I just took a screwdriver like this and just put this in between, kind of like held this up with my, like between my knees, and just tapped this in with my palm or something and drove that pin down in there. Now we're just going to put the vacuum advance back in there. Like so. This has got to go inside there and come out that little hook right there, but it's easier for me to do it if I'm not doing it in front of the camera. But this just kind of goes like this, and this there's just got to lift up, and then we'll slip that in there. Okay. All I done is just lift up on this like I showed you. Got the vacuum advance little knobby sticking through this plate there, and now we just put the 2 screws in is all. One. Now I'm not going to run a vacuum advance on drag truck. I won't be doing that. But I need the vacuum advance to hold this plate steady, so our timing will be steady. Okay, simple enough. Now we just got to set this. This is loose. That's my adjusting screw. And you just put a little small flathead screwdriver in there, and you turn that back and forth after you break that loose. Use a my brass 8/1000 gap. I'll put this inside there. I'll bring this up against there. Virtually, this is what I'm doing. Each one of these represents a cylinder, and I'm getting them 8/1000 away from this, like that. So it's gonna be hard for me to do this on camera, but I'm just gonna go like this, put this in there, slide that closer till it touches, and then I'm gonna spin this and watch to make sure the gap by eye doesn't get wider or closer, like evidence of a bent shaft. Okay, by eye they should stay just about perfect. I mean, I probably won't get too excited if it's 1 or 2/1000 variance, but I want it around 8/1000. 6 to 8/1000 is good. So this shaft ended up being bent some. Well, it'd be the whole shaft that goes through there. There's just the ever so slight wobble. I don't like that, but that's how we're gonna have to run this for the time being. But that's just something you can be aware of. Any worse and I wouldn't run this. I would figure out something else. Until next time, appreciate you watching.